small spark which had glowed into life on the wall below the map loosed itself and now danced through air ahead, blinking with a gem flash. A pet shop. The inquiry about animal knowledge was now explained. But Troy lost some zone of his zest. The thin story he had told. Remember, don't tell thin stories. Don't lie. This is my point. Uh, this is Andre Norton. Apparently, actually a lady. Great writer, by the way. Anywho, the thin story he had told that a signer was now even thinner, to the point of being full of holes. Don't lie, folks. It will lead you astray. These are my words, not from the book, any book. If you lie, my experience, when you lie, you come unstuck. So, I do not lie, even if some people don't actually like what you've got to say. Don't lie. Tell the truth from your heart, from your life, and so on. The small spark. Remember the small spark. The small spark is important, right? Troy lost some of his zest, the thin story that he told. The assigner, he knew that it was even thinner. This is what happens. Remember, when I read a story from a book, I'm going to add my own experience into it, you know, in the linguistic sense, shall we say. It's important. Remember, this guy came from another planet. He was removed from his world. There are analogies to my own life here. And these are the reasons that I read these things to you, my gentle folk. When you read something many years before it happens, and then it happens, you go, oh, isn't that interesting? So I'm having very many interesting things happening, and I like to share them with you. I think it's important that we realize that when we have these little moments that happen in our world, in our life, in our steps along our journey, I'm not religious, but please don't judge others, because there's people around us, they do some shitty things, but it doesn't mean that they're bad people. It just means they've lost their way. That for me is what I have seen, and I've seen a lot of stuff. And here's the thing. Spooks album. Trust me, I have seen. Great song, right? Go listen to it. Good music. And if you want to come back and listen, that's fine. And if you do not, that's also fine. I don't mind, because I've been talking to myself for many decades. When you have spoken to yourself through your existence and you encounter your nature, when you encounter your nature, it's all around us and within us. Then That's when you have the real fun. That's the realization of the true life. Anyway, let's continue. The small spark. Troy. So he's lost some of his zest because he really's got to get his job. But he's actually been ad-libbing. He knew a little bit, but he didn't know that much. But he knew more than he knew, shall we say. Because I found this. I know more than I thought I knew. So, listen to those words. When you realize what you knew is more than what they, whoever they are, say that you knew, then you must read on your path. Read on. It's so important. And so I've become less afraid about the steps that I take because it gives me even more inspiration. And then the realization of some of the things I've read have shown me that what I've read is actually clarifying what I already knew. And I'm like, oh my God, I already knew this stuff. And I'm reading this stuff, and here it's happening many years later. I promise you, listen to your heart. And I'm sorry, I'm not being cheesy. That was a good song from the 80s, but you should listen to your heart. So, Troy, he looked about him. The massed foliage, the centre square was a riot of luxuriant vegetation. I worked in Mayfair as a security guard, but it was like glorified security. It was Mayfair in London. The amount of opulence around me. And I got to know an Italian lawyer, and he was very charming. He looked like my dad, but he was very charming. Very nice gentleman. And there's women like this as well, you know. He bought an apartment in Beijing. It was quarter of a horrible one of these skyrise things. It cost him 1.2 million pounds. Right? There are people out there in the world that have lost their spirit, and all that is important to them is the amount of money that they can put in their bank or their wallet, and how many others they can capture. So irrelevant of if they are man or woman in a physicality, there's women out there like this as well. So don't say that it's all male, or whatever they call themselves. It is not that, right? These folk are adversaries to pure consciousness. It's hilarious because I lived in an apartment in Rome between the Tevere, or what you would call the Tiber, and the White Pyramid. And the road was called Via Marmorata. Okay? Pronunciation is everything. If you're going to learn a language, learn to pronunciate it. Every single word. Beautiful people there, by the way. This man, and I'm not reading from a book anymore, I'm reading from my life. Because when you read from your life, you tell the truth, nothing else matters. Be honest, tell the truth. I am tell the truth every single moment of my existence. This little man never got his leg over me. And anyone that's British knows what that is. And you should know that. Blokes from America and wherever you are. Never ever did it happen. And he got very angry with me because I would not sell myself to him. I stayed in Rome for 4 months. He was never there, right? So for someone that wanted me to sell myself to him, if you want to buy me, then you've got to at least like look after me, weren't there? But I wouldn't have sold myself anyway. That's not the point. The point is that the connection, and I was talking about this before, the connection that we all have is beyond what they can have, right? And that is why they want to control. It isn't about monetary systems or anything like that. It is control. Yes, they're strip mining us. And I've said this so many times before. They are strip mining us. Like on every single level. So, why am I not afraid anymore? I'll tell you why. Because I know and I remember all of my lives. I have seen what has been done to our families. And quite frankly, I don't think that we should shut up anymore. Because when you shut up, that's when they really control you. Right? My darlings. Now, I don't know everything. I never have professed to. But I do know some things. And I know that many other parts of my family all over the world also know many things. And so what they don't like is that we are coming together. I promise you, we are stronger than them. And with that, I bid thee good night. And thank you for listening, by the way. And happy solstice and all that.